Well, our top story at the start, there has been a major row in the culturally diverse and popular tourist nation of Malaysia over a Hindu temple, which has led to clashes over the weekend. Now, peace was disturbed earlier this week, as we said, after writing for the relocation of the oldest Hindu temple outside Kuala Lumpur. The Malaysian government is now in damage control mode and seeking to restore harmony. Here's a report.
Cars were set ablaze. Rioters vandalized the temple ground. These are stark reminders of the riots that took place near a Hindu temple in Selangor, Malaysia, which dates back to the year 1873.
At about 2 o'clock,
the temple's spokesperson claims that intruders entered the premises carrying samurai swords, iron rods, and an axe. But the attack was not a surprise.
More than 2 months, we have given the police hundreds of reports asking for protection, that we are in a threatened position by the developer, so please give us protection. And they refused. Even lately also we went and gave reports asking for police protection. They never gave us any protection.
Violence had broken out when a group attacked Indian devotees praying at the Sri Mahamariamman temple just outside Kuala Lumpur. The feud started when a property developer who reportedly owns the temple land set his eyes on this place of worship. When calls to move the temple did not work, the developer decided to use force against Hindu worshippers. Nearly 24 cars were damaged. Many people were injured in the riots that followed. Nearly 30 people have been arrested in a crackdown that followed. A worried Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad has now stepped in. He has called for peace and harmony and made it clear that the federal government has no authority to acquire the land on which the temple stands. To prevent such an incident in the future, the Malaysian government, which has sheltered fugitive Indian Islamic preacher Zakir Naik, will pass a new resolution to make it compulsory for a permit to be obtained before a house of worship is built. Bureau Report, World is One.
And well, this is what V.K. Regu, who is the president of the World Hindu Council in Malaysia, had to say.
Then you may be heard and see the developer action to relocate and demolish the temple. 300 people came and attacked the devotees in the temples with the sounding of Allahu Akbar, and chase and with their big knife and other stones, bricks. They came and attacked. There was injured seriously 12 people.
Shahzeb Jalani, his senior journalist from Karachi, is now joining us for more on what Imran Khan had to say to Indian journalists. And Mr. Jalani, let's talk about his statements on Hafiz Saeed and Dawood Ibrahim, where he, essentially said that these were inherited issues and he really can't be blamed for it. Having said that, Hafiz Saeed, of course, openly, was campaigning in this election. He's been seen shaking hands with Khalistani leaders who were also present at the Kartarpur opening ceremony. So it's not like Imran Khan has done anything about terror as well.
That's right, and he really can't be asked on these issues because it's not his domain, so to say. I mean, most of the Indian journalists who are visiting in Pakistan, who got to meet him, are fully aware that there are areas of policy in Pakistan where the civilian government doesn't have much control, and those areas are determined by the army and by the ISI. So Imran Khan is right to say that, look, I can't be blamed for it because, these are things which happened before my government. And he will continue to say that
but that's
in months to come and in days to come, because...
But Mr. Jalani, it's one thing to say that, the civilian government is not in control in Pakistan. But having said that, I mean, this is a political outfit. This is a political party, the PTI, and led by Imran Khan, that was supported by several groups that had terror links in during the election, and that was a major worry and something that was raised by opposition parties in Pakistan as well. So he can't really wash his hands off. He has been soft on terror outfits, especially operating from Afghanistan. He's called, he has not even called out the Taliban on many occasions.
Yes, you're right about that.
And so what defense does he have on that?
Well, like I said, he's saying that this is not my priority right now. I'm focused on economy. I'm focused on improving governance. There's a big domestic agenda that he's focused on. When it comes to foreign policy and militancy, relations with India, Kashmir, Afghanistan, his government provides a civilian face to the existing policies which are determined by the army.
Okay. And what about bringing up the Kashmir issue and saying that, Kashmir stops us from moving ahead? But did you think that it was the right occasion to bring up Kashmir as he did yesterday at the Kartarpur corridor opening ceremony? And also, of course, all the treatment that was meted out in Navjot Singh Sidhu vis-a-vis how the union ministers from India were treated. And also many people asking, well, why this obsession with Kashmir? No matter what the occasion is, Kashmir is always brought up by Pakistan.
It is a long-standing policy. I mean, whether we like it or not, it is the outstanding dispute between the two countries. It is the dispute we have gone to wars over. It is a dispute we keep accusing each other of, terrorism from Indian side and Pakistani side. So to not mention Kashmir when it comes to India and Pakistan is almost unimaginable in Pakistan. And I'm not really sure if India should get upset over it. I mean, if he mentioned it, it is just recognizing that, yes, we have a problem.
All right. And also, of course, he promised at this meeting with journalists from India that his government was going to do enough to clamp down on the Jamaat-ud-Dawa. Do you think that's a promise he's going to hold on to? He's going to do anything about it? Or this is just something that he had to say because he was faced by these questions on terrorism?
Well, more than the questions from Indian journalists, it is FATF, this international regime that is looking at Pakistan, looking at money laundering, terror financing, that Pakistan ought to be really worried about. A team visited Pakistan recently. They want to show that Pakistan is taking action against outlawed groups, against militant groups. It is ensuring that these groups are not getting financed through various banking channels. So that's something that Pakistan has to take action on for its own sake. Forget about demands from neighboring countries. And again, I would repeat that it is an area where Pakistani civilian government cannot move until it has military on board, because these terror groups have been sort of financed and supported through these dodgy means way beyond civilian government.
All right.
But now it's time is coming. Pakistan has to act.
G20 and the summit there, and the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, will be reaching Argentina for the G20 Summit today. The summit will discuss ways to handle new challenges in the coming decades and build consensus for fair and sustainable development. Prime Minister Modi is expected to meet China's President Xi Jinping and also the US President Donald Trump and the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. It is going to be a busy 4 days for the Prime Minister. World leaders will discuss a range of issues, including trade, terror and climate change. Prime Minister Modi will likely stress on sustainable development, global economy and women empowerment. The Prime Minister is also expected to stress on digital revolution and highlight some of the flagship programs of his government as well.
The whole purpose of these meetings is to build a certain mutual trust and understanding in the relationship. And it was decided after their meeting in Wuhan that they would take the opportunity wherever and whenever they could meet to have meetings and to discuss issues that was on either leader's mind or which was of mutual concerns.
And Siddhant Sibal, my colleague, is now joining us live from Argentina for the very latest. And Siddhant, we are expecting, of course, the Prime Minister to reach. And the big ticket, of course, the big takeaway from this will be that meeting between Prime Minister Modi and the Chinese President. Give us all the highlights.
Well, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be shortly landing in Buenos Aires in 1 hour's time, and he has a hectic 3-day schedule. Meeting, of course, will host world leaders, including meet with the Chinese President Xi Jinping, which is the 4th meeting between the Indian leader and the Chinese. The G20 Summit and that big trilateral which was confirmed by the NSA of United States, Mr. Bolton, who said that there will be a trilateral between the US President Donald Trump, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. But the key focus from India's side will be on the issue of terror, on black money. That has been the issue. India has been talking since many years. Remember the first G20 Summit, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited in Brisbane in Australia. It was black money, the key issue, and since then that has been the key focus at the G20, a concerted effort on the black money issue. And because of this, India has been able to renegotiate treaties with Mauritius and Singapore. On the issue of terror, we spoke to the chief negotiator, the Sherpa, India's Sherpa to G20, who confirmed that the FATF commitment by non-commitment by certain countries will be raised by India, and the other things will be on economic offenders being provided safe haven by certain G20 members. No point guessing who these G20 countries are. These are United Kingdom and other countries. Nirav Modi, of course, example of this thing. But the focus will be on US President also. Remember, US President Donald Trump has been having a roller coaster year, starting with his meeting with the North Korean leader, to squabbles at the G7 summit, which happened earlier this year. So he will be using this summit for an image makeover. His meeting with the Chinese President Xi Jinping, there will be a working dinner. If it fails, it's going to have a major impact on the global economy, because we have seen how trade wars between world number 1 and world number 2 economies have been impacting the globe. But other than that, his meeting with the Russian president will be another key focus, right? Because we know that the things which have developed in Ukraine is a cause of worry for the West. It's a worry in many Western capitals, and this will, if this meeting happens, this will be a second meeting between the US president and the president of Russia. But other thing that will be focused is the meeting, if it happens actually, between the Turkish president and Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. He was one of the first leaders to arrive here. He's already here in the town, and if it can make an uncomfortable moment between Turkish leadership and the Saudi leadership, because this meeting coming for the first time after Khashoggi's murder, which took place in Turkey. So these things can make uncomfortable photo ops. But other thing that will be focused will be the oil prices. Right. India has made it clear before the visit by the Indian Prime Minister. In his pre-departure statement, he said that stabilization of the oil prices will be one of the key things that has been cause of concern, and that is expected to be discussed when the world leaders sit in the plenary hall in the closed doors. And I can give you an example from the Chinese G20 summit, which happened 2 years ago. There was a meeting between the Russian president and the Saudi crown prince, and after that, a few days after that, there was a coordinated action by Riyadh and Moscow. We do expect something like this to happen here at the G20 summit also, because this summit coming just days before that important OPEC meeting, which is taking place in Europe, and that, of course, this summit can have a repercussion on that meeting. But really important summit taking place. Well, it is expected to be as dramatic as a reality show, because the world leaders meeting here, top 20 economies of the world meeting here, discussing issues that concern the world economy and that can have repercussions on the globe in every manner possible, because everything will be on agenda, whether it's trade wars, whether it's oil prices, or it's climate change. Remember, climate change is one issue that will be a main focus. The French president is also already here in the city.
First Lady Bridget, the pair was greeted by Argentina's Vice President. Now, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has also arrived, and he flew in from Tunisia. He was met by protesters who took to the streets to demonstrate against the killing of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. And of course, the Saudi Crown Prince has asked for a meeting with the Turkish president, but that may not happen, as the Turkish side is not very happy with Saudi Arabia as of now. Thousands of Argentinians also took to the streets of Buenos Aires on Wednesday, and Argentinians carried out a peaceful march with placards that accused the world leaders of trying to take advantage of the region.
principal puede decirles no al G20, porque entendemos que es quien viene a entregar los últimos recursos naturales que tenemos. Macri viene a negociar extraordinariamente el hambre del pueblo, contra el hambre del pueblo, dar todos los recursos que nos quedan en la Argentina y seguir hundiéndonos en la pobreza.
Now remember, Argentina is struggling with economic recession. Inflation is at around 45%. The government of Argentina has introduced tough austerity measures. Argentina has taken a whole host of measures to maintain calm during the G20 Summit. Friday has been declared as a bank holiday in Argentina. The authorities have advised all those who aren't involved in the G20 Summit to take Friday off and go out to Buenos Aires for the weekend. Local merchants, however, have expressed their fear about losing business on the weekend.